G'day punters, welcome to what are we previewing this weekend? It's not quite Super Saturday.
Guineas Day.
Australian
Australian Guineas
Guineas.
Day. At headquarters, Pete. Flemington. 9 of the best.
Yep.
Rails out 2 metres. Basically the true. It's sunny, a little bit of wind in Victoria right now, as you well know, up there in the penthouse in the middle of the city. It sets up for a really good day's racing.
Gesundheit. Play on, advantage.
Sets up for a good day's racing. Pumped.
That's all that dust from Sandown yesterday, surely.
I think my Aussies are getting pounded lately, and not in a good way, because it's so hot and then so cold. Like yesterday I went and had a swim in the morning, and then by 4 o'clock at Sandown, I was in a jumper. I had to go to the car and luckily found an old fair vest out of the golf bag. If I didn't have that, I would have had to leave probably or go inside.
I did see you on Instagram shivering like a little bitch. It was quite humorous.
Well, we had a really good day, and I went to celebrate early and just ducked off. There's a Macca's just across the highway there, so I trotted out there to get the blood flowing and the body temperature up. But yeah, 2/3 through the flurry, I was freezing again. But
what did you come back from Macca's? What did you have?
McFlurry, Oreo, M&M.
Mixture.
Yeah, I thought I deserved it. We had a good day yesterday, didn't we, Pistol?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm still dealing with the fact I keep back in seconds beaten by a long neck at double figure odds, but that's okay. But no, it was actually a really strong set at Sandown, wasn't it? Like just everything happened, it was pretty easy.
And the key might have been walked in 2 times, both times with a bit of Mackie D's. First time was a McChicken with an extra cheesy. I'm 81.5 kilos, so it's under control, but it is tough getting out to the races. It takes you back to when I was, a year or two ago when I was travelling a lot more, and there's just so many golden arches along the way that you just end up giving in, don't you? Because you leave for the races, you're like dongle, iPad charged, Surface Pro charged, got my water, used to need darts, now I'm off the darts, so I need my chewy. You don't think about packing a lunch.
True.
Can I also just point out, if anyone's watching from the MRC, can you please open up the rest of Sandown? There's basically 25 people there, and 2 of them are Jack and myself, and then 3 if you include Jackson. If you open up the rest of it, you allow us to do like 300 to 400 metre sprints in between going to the yard and not. Like, it's actually really good for your general well-being to actually just clock up between, 3 or 4 kilometres just by running up and down the Sandown straight, just getting to your seat and getting to the yard. Like, do something for us, please. It'd be very nice.
I'd appreciate if we were allowed to utilise the entirety of the grandstand, but I understand that they'd be under pressure from the authorities, and we will continue to show some patience, but hopefully it turns soon. I spent 4.5 years sitting in the same seat at Sandown Curls, like literally the same seat.
Yeah, okay.
It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there. No one's there. We're not allowed near it.
I have fond memories of Sandown. I grew up in that area of Melbourne when I was a young fella, and my grandparents just live a stone's throw away from Sandown Racecourse. Seen many a good time there.
It's glorious.
Many good horses used to race at Sandown, once upon a time.
They still do. That 2-year-old that won yesterday, I don't even know if it was a 2-year-old actually. The debutant for Sads, the great man.
Yeah.
Who, luckily for all of us, didn't scratch because it was about to be a good 3. It probably already was. But that's Starry Legend potentially, it might have been. Smart jump out with Dosh leading into it. We found it, thank God.
Something. All right, well, speaking of finding something, we've got 3 really good races. We're going to focus on races 5, 6, 7. We'll start with the Bob Hoysted down the straight over 1,000 metres. And we have 2 Wester's best horses in the first 3 in the market. Fabugino.
Why don't you kick us off here? So, I think they both sit in the first 3 horses in run.
Agree.
Our banter will be thereabouts. I don't know how positive they'll be with Hey Doc. I doubt they take on those 3, particularly Fabugino and Our Banter. I found it hard to sort of profile Indian Pacific map-wise. like on Thursday morning, or get it right by jump time because Pistol Pete's our Perth man. Why don't you start with your thoughts on Indian Pacific, then Fabergino?
Yeah, if you're comparing Indian Pacific to Fabergino, their figures are about 4 lengths different, basically in terms of what they've done best work in WA. So the profile's certainly not as strong as a Fabergino. I think the price is pretty short considering. 40 days up, that winter bottom form didn't really stack up for mine. And having said that, it didn't necessarily run too well in the winter bottom. There was excuses on the day, but even having said that, it's not really a horse that I could get in as short as 550. It's a strong type. It's a really nice type. You'll probably be quite taken with it. But how can you go past Fabergino? It's got clear superior figures down the straight over the 1,000. And if there's any other horse in the field that might be able to challenge it at a price, is Brazado really big odds here?
Yeah, just the map. I think this race, when you preview it now, you can sort of grow yourself up a bit. I think it's firstly going to start with how I think you should bet, then I'll elaborate on some of the horses. I think Fabergino is a bet. It's going to make all its own luck. 9 times out of 10, up on the speeds where you want to be down the straight, particularly over 1,000 metres. This horse is 3 from 4 this track and trip. This is not a strong race. It's off a 2-week break. Fine Dane's off about the same. Lashes is 3 weeks between runs, and Propel is a couple of weeks between runs. The rest of these have had a little bit of time off. You kind of want something. You want Fabergino to have time off for something to maybe be able to get it with race fitness and take it on. It needs to stop and fail for the other horses to catch it, is the way I read the race. I think Haydoc's better over further, gets a good run. Fine Dane is always sort of disrespected. I think it'll run a good race, but it'll need some luck from the inside. Brazado is another track and trip horse. It's a 1,000-metre horse. The map's okay if there's enough speed. It's a horse that they have been able to show some tactical speed with before. I think they could again here. Is a player. The most interesting horse for me in the race is Muntasira. I wanted to find it. If you go and look at its jump out, it's elite. This horse is a beast. 1,000 metres might be short of its best, but if you dig back through, some of its bigger figures are over 1,000. I just couldn't get it short enough. So it's there. It's at the moment, it's too short for us. It will be come the jump. But if it's a big parade versus some of these that aren't, we could sort of just get it into a bet. But at the moment, pretty keen Fabergino will win, and will start shorter than it currently is. The 390, well, it was 390 last night.
380 now.
380 now. I think it probably starts closer to $3.
Can I just give one word of warning for Fabergino? The only failures she had early on in WA were off shorter breaks. They've been deliberately spacing her runs since then. This is probably a case of maybe an end of run prep, possibly. She's had the run in the Group 1. Possibly this is an afterthought. I'm not too sure. But typically all of her runs have been about 1 month between. The shortest as they've been keeping her has been about 21 days since those early experiment failures.
Well, that's great information, because the market won't know that though.
Yeah.
So I still think they'll back, and it'll start shorter.
I think so too.
But we won't bet them yet, and we'll wait and see what we think from the yard. You've got a great profile of this horse. You might have seen it almost every time it's raced. I've seen it a stack of times. So we'll try and tick it from the yard, I guess, and then bet.
Yeah, it's an interesting race, this one. There's a lot of different angles here. And some, as you said, some horses that aren't probably going to be suited over to 1,000 resuming as well. What do you think of the jump out of Muntasira, or the trial?
Like elite behaviour.
Yeah.
Huge. Go and watch it. That's how good horses trial, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like if you're watching at home, I mean, like it looks like it's improved again. And Muntasira was very stiff in like a blue diamond. I've got a lot of time for this horse. I really, really like this horse. I thought another horse that was really good was Hummer Hummer. But just think maybe he wants a little bit further. Big watch here parade. Hummer and Montesira are the two the fresh horses I quite liked here. I'm considering every horse with more than 21 days fresh.
Yep. Kills, what do you do with straight racing? Is it one of your bag? Is it part of your jam?
Or is it like carpentry and hanging doors?
Nah. I want to just clarify a point there. The door wasn't locked. Thank you to everyone on Twitter for their advice on how to unlock a door. It wasn't locked. Had trouble with I'm not sure the technical term for the inside part of the
latch cord.
The spindle thing in the middle. Yeah. I felt it go. So what happened was, I had the windows open in my office, getting a bit hot and sticky, so I shut and locked the windows. I went to turn the air conditioner on, and I said to myself, I won't shut the door because this spindle's gone in this thing, so I can't shut the door because I won't be able to get back in. I've turned the air conditioner on, it's blowing the door shut.
So the mistake was locking the windows?
Correct. I knew the door was already gone.
And a pretty stiff, 24 hours, apart from the outstanding action on the bowls, which we'll get to later, but for the Curly household, shout out to Cooper. Wow.
Massive issue yesterday.
What a morning.
Dropped him off at school and come home and just sent the early plays for the day for the subs and get a call from the school. You little fella.
You're on the phone to me. She called you 3 times. Just said, "Oh, this isn't good. Hang on."
I've got to go. Anyway, so he gets in the car and he looked like he was a bit pale and was a bit upset. He goes, "Dad, I've definitely broke my arm. I heard it go crack." And I thought, there's no way you're sitting here telling me this story. If you got a broken arm, you'd be beside yourself in hysterics and pain. Anyway, so we roll into the hospital. They cut his sleeve off his hoodie and you could see the bone out of place. Anyway, so he's broken his wrist, got a fracture in his arm up near the elbow.
The other arm, that's one wrist and the other arm.
And then he's got, and then the doctor goes, and then we're in the emergency department in the fast track area, getting the x-rays and that. The doctor goes, just give me a look at that ankle. You got any pain there? He goes, yeah, I rolled my ankle when I fell over. It's a bit sore. Had an x-ray. He's got a fracture in his ankle as well. So we've got cast and moon boots, and he's in a bad way, the little fella. But he toughed it out. He'll be okay. It'll be a long 6 weeks for mum and dad at home, put it that way.
I was thinking of him, we can't do anything for him. Can't bet.
Nah.
He can't play PlayStation or anything?
Nah, he's in a bit of strife. Anyway, we'll see what happens. He's got to go back to he come home, they shifted him out, but he's got to go back in today, so... hopefully they can wire a Fortnite controller or something to his left hand. Anyway.
Or we might end up getting some vision of him coaching you.
Well, I could probably get him doing some replays maybe. I know that doesn't have a lot to do with straight racing, but there's I think there's just a horses for courses thing, and I reckon this is to me, from an outside, if you call me an outsider looking in here, this just looks like a complete Fabergino, Montesira, best 2 horses, fastest 2 horses. For those that like snacking on beating SP, I think, there's 380 everywhere, Fabergino right now. It's got to start $3. I just want to give a little mention to Usmanov as well. It's a bit of a Queensland representative at Flemington. When you go places that you shouldn't, but you go anyway because you want to experience it? That's what Usmanov is in that field. It's coming off a terrible run. It's coming off a terrible last start performance. This will be the training effort of this season if this thing runs top 5.
Now, while we're talking Queensland, let's just give a little bit of extra for the punter watching at home. The Harrovians trial, I watched it. Was asked to do a little bit, killed them, apart from the thing that beat it. They gapped the rest, but it was asked to do a little bit. What do you think of the trial? I was very confused after watching it.
Well, I don't know. Jack, I don't know about this horse. Congratulations to everyone involved, and what a great thing to have a Queensland horse in the All-Star Mile. Really happy for everyone. I think Canapes was the horse that beat it in a trial.
Yeah.
Canapes has got strong benchmark 78 form, 0 to 75 form off-season Saturdays in Queensland. Won a benchmark 65 not long ago. So, yeah, I suppose if you look at it from a trial point of view, like, he is a bit of a racehorse, the Harrovian. I didn't sort of expect him to destroy him, but it wasn't, like, it's not a back me trial.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks for confirming that. But it was confusing because I've never watched many trials up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So race 5, back Fabergino. You'll be on at the overs. Get the mounting yard mail, and we'll confirm or deny. And if Pete says it's off, you can just get out on the fair late, I guess.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the Blamey, the Group 2 over the mile. Market Buffalo River's favourite at 280. Then you've got Star of the Seas, Mystic Journey coming off 2 back-to-back odds on rolls down in Tassie. Best of days, they're all at 550. And then my mate Fiddy Stars is at $8. Dickens, is Fiddy Stars just set up for this? It went really well second up last prep. It won this race second up last year. Jay Allen back on board, reuniting, getting the team back together.
And that was on a good 3 last year when it won.
Yeah, well, it probably won't be too far off this Saturday either.
I think this horse is technically stronger with a bit of give, but it won this race on a good 3, so that's out the window. The map's okay.
Yeah.
John will just go back. I don't think there's a lot of speed here, but I think they bunch. I don't think Jay Carr's going to go handlebars down from the top of the straight on Buffalo River, who leads this very, very comfortably. If she does, she'll probably win, but that'll be extremely brave behaviour. I think it deserves to be favourite, Buffalo River. It's got a strong SP profile and good races, and it's had some tricky maps and been taken on. It won't be here. It'll be blessed in run. I thought Muhammad Diaz gets a nice run from 5 and can win. I get really great up by this Mystic Journey. She's got huge figures this track and trip. I think it was last preparation. She was awful. Then exploded at Moonee Valley. She was 2 starts 400 up to the mile. That was a mare's race, though. This is a better race. So I just don't know.
You say she was awful, right? Group 2, Group 1, Caulfield, then wins Moonee Valley 3rd up the mile. Yeah, this prep she's coming off like an open mare's race, an open handicap at Launceston.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to say though. She was
she still had good figures early in the prep. She was for her position in run and her SP in the 2 group races in Caulfield. She was awful, but they were big races, and she was dropping back to mares. This time, she's been awful in shit races. Yeah, and now she's stepping up. So, I think you have to be against, but I can just see her just exploding, and you go, oh yeah, she's a psychopath, but talented, and when she decides she wants to win, she wins.
Is there a query?
I think this race is an awful betting race. Is my summation. I'm not taking 280 Buffalo River.
Are you taking $8 50 stars?
Nah. I think I at the start said it 50 stars maps well. I don't think it does map great. He's gonna have to go back. So got a big figure here, hasn't it? This setup. Yeah, but there's and these two these Noof Bosk and Mirage Dancer just confuse me. Irish Flame never runs bad. It looked gone the other day and sort of kept finding. I'd probably back Best of Days if it got out to $8, but it won't. And even I think Star of the Sea sets up to run well, but it's going to be back near last. So, on a Thursday, tipping your horses are going to be back last. Flemington rail out too is not a genuine thing to say. I don't know. Look, there's no guarantee that's going to be suited. It's probably not.
Yeah, that's fair. Only the second
Buffalo
start.
River deserves to be favourite. I don't want to take the price.
Yeah, that makes sense. Only the second start at Flemington for Star of the Seas as well, which is always a little bit of a query, but we'll play on. Let's have a look at the main event. The Group 1 Australian Guineas over the mile once more. A little bit of map chaos early, you'd have to think. There's a lot going on.
Oh, like... It's absolutely chaotic. So there's Lofty Star, Tagaloa, Jet Propulsion, Here to Shock, ASAR, Poland, Grand Slam, Zoo Dancer, and even Luna Fox. I think all have enough speed to be there or thereabouts. If they come to an agreement early on and slot into their spots, I think the winner comes out of that group. But if they fight and overdo it and cook it, and a horse like Cambon, It's Our Time, Dom to Shoot, Old Kirk, particularly Cherry Tortoni, get a nice suck run, they'll... Sorry.
You were the only person thinking that was dirty there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think ASAR's the bet.
I was going to say, what are you doing with the SP here? Because it obviously SP'd favourite in the CS Hayes ASAR. It was half the price of Tag.
10 minutes debating this because Tagaloa had the SP last start to justify backing it. Now ASAR's got the SP this start. Do you think it's relevant to the last start mainly, Curls? Because this is completely grey. This it.
Yeah. Oh. Jesus, I don't know. I survived as long as I have because I say fuck the market a lot of the time.
Yep.
So I think it's a thing. SP profile. It's a thing, right? There's no doubt about that. But I don't have a general rule. I just got to play every race on its merits and as a factor. What can you say about these two when they met last start, and what's different this time?
What's different this time is ASAR's going to get a more economical run provided it jumps than Tagaloa. It's going to have to work slightly to lead, and it's going to be diggerised by two sort of slower horses, whereas ASAR's going to get a softer run. I reckon if D-Lane wants, he can scare... Or he can just intimidate Luke Nolan here on Here to Shock, who was very, very plain last start. He's not going to take it on to get that 1-1 spot if he wants it. It's his. Mm-hmm. I think ASAR at $9, say versus like Old Kirk at $8.50. Like that, they were as good at runs as each other at Caulfield Guineas. And ASAR's going to get every single possible chance here. Provided the track, even if the track's not favouring leaders, he's not going to lead. It's going to get that nice cover. I thought the one at odds, that I think we get a better price, is number 8, Poland. Zoo Dancer's hard to bag from that draw the way it won last start. I really, really wanted to find Cherry Tortoni, but barrier 17 just means they're going to go right back to last, and it's going to have to circle them all. And there's a lot of nice, talented horses here. One or two of them's going to have a big day, and that's just going to be enough to knock off a horse like Cherry Tortoni with its map problem here. I'm with ASAR. I think it's a bet, and I'll probably end up being with Poland, provided it parades well. We've got a really good read on this horse.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the SP profile of these two horses, like, I know this is not SP prices, we can only look at the prices that we have now, and like just comparing the two horses and the two maps, like $9 is a bet.
Yeah.
ASAR.
I think they both should be about sort of like...
They should be closer to
ASAR should be $6 and Tagaloa should be about $4.70, and then you sort of back both. That's what I think they should be in this market. They got map... That Tagaloa still has map edge over a lot of these.
Quick question on Camborne, because that also had a strong SP last start.
I think the run's okay, provided it jumps cleanly.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be last. Same with Dom to shoot.
I thought Dom was really good. It's the horse for me that I've got clear interest in. I mean, Pike jumping on for Casey, just West is best combining, but I thought it was a really good run first up in Victoria. And that Kingston Town form is just still holding up really strong.
Yeah, I think if you're building a book in play, like early, they're the two sort of horses, particularly. Obviously, Old Kirk, Territor, Tony, and It's Our Time, but I just don't think there's any chance they're that positive. But if Dom to shoot or Campbell and sort of lob like 4 back, 1 off or something, I'm going to be neutralising them in the first 50 metres.
We also haven't mentioned Zoo Dancer, who is the second market elect at the moment at 550.
I like the map. I like the draw. I just don't love 1600.
Yeah, I mean, it was completely dominant at 14 last start, but it's probably slightly difficult to know if that will translate necessarily to 1600.
I think the map and the horse really suits Jamie.
Yeah.
I think I probably said on the review show, I don't think anything that it beat will ever beat it over 1400, but this is a different scenario.
And she's not meeting anything she beat last start.
Yeah.
In fact, she's never lined up against any of these before.
But if they're winning on speed, this horse pings, and it was good over 1400, and it leads here over... I'll shit my pants if I'm not with her.
Yeah.
That's for sure, and it will look like the winner for a while. But she's likely going to sort of blend in, I reckon, 2 to 3 back, probably 3 wide cover, 2 wide cover, and just have an okay, like a good run, but not a great, not the run.
Yeah.
I think if you're on ASAR, which we will be, it's just going to be, does D Lane get it out?
Luck in running. It's part of the joy. Okay, that's...
It's getting out.
Yeah.
It's not a Wednesday benchmark 65.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
He's got pony. He's getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, you anticipate that, particularly ASR, well, like Tagaloa was kind of like jury was out. It was an awful run, really, at Caulfield, but there was a lot of excuses. There's a bit more intent probably in the work leading up to the lead-up race. Azar's likely got a lot of pony here. This is like on track. This is the one they want. Draw's good. Yeah, I'm with Azar.
Is there any opportunity here for a pacemaker? Map-wise?
No. I couldn't find one. I've looked for that. Maybe like the Jet Propulsion Grand Slam.
I was thinking Grand Slam's played that role before.
And painfully in this race, so is John Allen on Cliff's Edge.
Oh.
Put it on for the other weird runner and Grunt, I think it was. Relished it. And Cliffy was brave in defeat. The mighty horse.
Interesting race.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Dickens. That's Flemington in a nutshell.
Yeah, best bet is Fabagino in race 5. Value bet is in race 7. It's ASAR. Nice.
Girls, you want to talk about Sunny Coast at all?
Interesting runner at the Sunny Coast for me. There's a couple of okay races, a couple of lead-up races to the big dual day that we have at the Gold Coast coming up, where we give insane amounts of prize money to Queensland-bred horses, which is good. Need to do something to compete with those southern states. Fancy copping a race called the Midway for 100,000 every Saturday for boutique, medium-sized stables in Sydney. Staggering.
Why is it called the Midway?
Because they fight for it, like the Battle of Midway.
Oh, I thought because like usually in like most proper races they would stop midway.
It's interesting that it's called the Midway and it's for medium-sized stables. I reckon.
Does it really matter?
I don't reckon a lot of whiteboarding went on when it came to naming races. The Golden Eagle. Anyway,
the Golden Eagle's still my favourite.
Or do I digress? There's some nice up and coming Queensland horses that'll go to that race. There's one there in particular that I liked how it come back at the jump outs. I'm just trying to find the race number. Sorry, it's race 5, number 1, Kisakano. It's come up $4.20. Now it's got a lump to 61, and the minimum's 54. So there's a decent spread here. She won a jump out the other day by a long, long way and ran really good time. Like completely ready to come back, right? So there's no questions on whether she's just having a look around or whether she's going to be fit enough. She's the Eagle Farm track record holder, this horse. She ran some ridiculous bullshit time one day, real quick. It's fast. It has won on a similar type setup. I think it was like first up last preparation, or maybe a couple of preps ago. She sort of come to this track and trip and carried the big weight and won, and it was a wet track that day too. So I haven't decided yet because it's a heavy track at the Sunny Coast at the moment. So I haven't really decided exactly what I want to do. Yeah, it was a heavy track here back in July. She carried 60.5 kilos as a 2-year-old filly.
Wow.
And blew them away at even money. So I haven't decided. I just want to see how the track is. But I think she's like a pretty good filly, and I'll be nearly keen to be with her. That's the sort of highlight race for me on the day anyway. I think she might be pretty handy.
As you were saying about Fabergino, looks like a bet. For me, just looking at that, previously performed heavy track on the same course, big figure for that course, looks like a bet, probably start shorter.
The only horse that's beaten Rothfire in Queensland, also on that rain-affected ground, it was a soft 7 that day. We know Rothfire went to Sydney and kicked their brains in before getting hurt. So it's only whether you believe in weights and measures at 1,000 metres. I'm not really a weights man. I don't concern myself too much with weight over sprint trips. Just the track condition it's got to carry it through, I suppose, might be the query. But it could easily be a launch job when it comes to race time, and the track sort of does suit sort of those that can sort of get to the crown of the track on a wet day. So that's the race I'm interested in the most right now.
Speaking of launch jobs and just general good times, what about our new man, Bush, and the Sheriff? I know there's hundreds of people involved already, and they would have roared home. I don't know if you watched it, if you didn't, find it on Twitter. The Sheriff, Bushy puts so much pressure on this bloke, like pre-match, for a sport like I've never watched. I was already thinking like this guy's like the fucking Tom Brady of bowls. And some of the rigs they get around with just makes bowls even more appealing to me. But the Sheriff just slotted it, like just threaded the eye of the needle late to claim victory and get us home for another win. The bowls mail, Curly, you've done a lot of great things for the mailbag. You've been enormous from day one, but maybe the bowls is the best thing you've ever done.
I don't know whether I've done much, but Bushy's, we have a call, and we've been putting the calls on YouTube when we have a chat about the games, and he's good at it. He's good at the game itself, but he's no mug when it comes to having a bet, and like just how he summed up the markets on these things and the style of the game and the players and backing the teams that have got one gun that can just turn the game off their own back. It's enormous wagering. We're recording this show at 11:30 on a Thursday morning, and he's already backed the first winner at the 10 a.m. game this morning.
I love all the lingo too. Like you learn about new sports. I wasn't sure if you wanted the Sheriff to walk, as in like don't bowl, like walk off.
Yeah.
But it must mean he wants him to bowl last or something. I don't know. I'm learning.
I'm going to record another show with Bushy tonight just to recap the last couple of days. But one question I want to ask him is when they're standing around the head, which I believe is the technical term for where the jack sits and all the other bowls are around it, and the people stand at the head and they wave the bowls on like this.
Yeah. They're roaring.
Yeah, they're roaring them home. Like, you know, we like the race, like on a racetrack, like we're doing these ones, and they're doing the wave. It's I just wonder if it has an effect on the result. It's so.
Can you ask him for me if he reckons the sheriff was getting advice? I reckon the sheriff is just sort of saying like, I don't want to hear it. Just let me do my work.
I don't know whether the sheriff's a subscriber, but it's almost like Bushy's putting in his bet details saying, hopefully the sheriff skips here. The sheriff skips this, they'll win.
Yeah, skips. That's the word I wanted.
Eagles, the skipper. It's great. It's a pity that's only a 4-day tournament, but it won't be the last tournament that we're covering for the mailbag, that's for sure, because it's a wagering sport. It's great to watch. It's short and sharp. You have to win 2 sets, and the tie break is excellent. I'm really enjoying the power plays.
Oh, it's just I got home from Sandown, Royal Sandown, God's carpet, and just got stuck in a Flemington, and just on the other TV here, just had the sheriff just getting it done. It was glorious.
Great to watch.
Peter, have you got anything for us to back at Ascot?
I've only done maps so far. Yeah, that's it. My horse Ciurleo's running around the 1,000 guineas as a $2.20 favourite, so just fingers crossed. That's about it. Personal interest, self-interest. It's the only interest that matters.
All right, we've got Mounting Yard Mail from Flemington on Saturday, is it Randwick on Saturday? Let's assume it is. It was Rosehill last week. Curly's got you covered race by race all through Queensland. You'll have Gold Coast
during the afternoon alongside Sunshine Coast, which is the Metropolitan meeting, and we'll just pick the eyes out of the Saturday night meeting.
Peter will be betting all weekend WA. Get to the website, get on board, support the show, keep us going. I'll be betting tomorrow at Sale and Moonee Valley, and then we've got a couple of maidens to look at on Saturday, as well as 9 races from headquarters at Flemington. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. Hope you win.